Hey, this is Cheryl of CHERYL SCRAP, and I'm here today with another digital scrapbook process video. And I'm scrapping today a photo of me from a recent trip to Walt Disney World at Thanksgiving 2015. I'm using primarily Project Mouse Souven-Ears bundle, but I ended up using some additional pieces excuse me, from a variety of bundles by Sahlin Studios. So what prompted me to record this video was the month of challenges 2016 at the lily pad has started. We call it Mach 4 as well. And this is the first challenge, so I did a screenshot of the instructions. That's what you saw there first, and you see again here. And in between that, you saw me looking through some of my supplies. And I think we actually had a live event in the Google Hangout when I recorded this. Unfortunately, the audio for that did not record. And it was over an hour that we were actually in the Hangout. So I have decreased the time on this video quite a bit. So the first instruction called for a solid background paper. And so I'm going through my supplies and ACDC, and I wanted a craft kind of paper background, which I found. And the second instruction said to place your photo on the left-hand side of the page, and then the third instruction was to use 3 pattern papers to the right of the photo. So right here I'm picking a couple of papers that I think might work for the pattern part. I don't end up using that shopping bag paper. I end up using the one with the little stamped badges on it. And right then I was just going back over the instructions again, just to make sure there wasn't any instruction that would happen in the future that might change the shapes I wanted to use. So you'll see I moved my photo all the way over to the left, so only paper would be showing to the right. And I chose the black and white pattern with the multicolor pattern underneath it. And then I wanted to use the word paper because I liked how it said magical and ears, and I wanted that just sticking above and below. Now it says I can add at least 1 flower, and I do end up adding more to that. So I think I start with 2 here, and then I end up adding more. And then I'm supposed to add a fastener, so I choose some staples, and what you'll see here is just me duplicating those, and I'm kind of skewing them to the side or the other to make it look like I've stapled over a staple, like I had a misfire of the stapler. Now I was supposed to add a piece of paint, so I chose this misted paint to pick up on that blue of my shirt in the photo. And this is where you're going to see me sit for quite some time, because I am trying to choose I think this is the stitching part I grab, but then I'm also thinking about using a banner or a tag. So it's just taking me some time to go through my supplies to do that. Now I'm working on that title. I thought I might use, oh, I'm sorry, this is where I thought that I would use that as a tag. It's labeled as a flag, so I end up not using it because I don't want it to not meet the requirements. So I think at one point I thought I might use that Insta moment as my title. So I do decide, I find the banner, I like it, it matches my the blue again, so it's going to pull that blue in from the splattered paint or misted paint that's sitting right behind those two photos that I added. And so I've just stuck the banner just somewhere random because I am now searching for, I think, additional flowers, I think, is what's going to come in here. Oh no, this is where I actually choose my title. And so after I already placed those staples as my fasteners, you'll see here I'm adjusting where they are so it looks like it's holding down that little piece. Okay, I'm choosing at this point to add my journaling. And I stop the journaling in order to add the date because I have to add the date. And I use the stamp font and I just change the opacity. I kind of repeat it and turn it just as if I've used one of those stamp rollers. And now I'm adding my journaling. So at the Magic Kingdom, I stopped at a little shop right behind the carousel. We were all crowded into the mall shop and exclaiming and laughing over the different hats and mouse ears available. I found these fabulous ears with houndstooth fabric on them, little fascinator feathers and mesh. They were so fancy. I didn't end up buying the ears because I thought I might find another souvenir I would like better. In the end, we didn't end up going back to the store and I never got my ears. Oh well, at least I have this photo of me in them that will have to be souvenir enough for this trip. Okay. I think this is the point where I'm adding in, there was some space that was trapped or open. It was like, it just felt like something needed to be there. So I am looking for washi tape to put in that spot, as well as some additional flowers to add to the layout. I've finished all my requirements for the challenge, but for my own personal printing, what I'm going to do is just I'm building on the basis of the instructions and just adding a couple more things. So the instructions say I could have fasteners, so I've got the staples and the washi tape are considered fasteners. And I can have more than one flower, so that's where those are added in. So I'm not quite working, I think, oh yes, I'm changing the opacity of the washi tape. So I'm still working on my original page. Okay, you see me here saving the layout. And then I decide I'm going to save it again. So I can actually add the additional elements that weren't required for the challenge. But in the meantime, I have moved over to Photoshop Creative Cloud, and I'm just doing some custom shadow work here. So you see me move quickly through that. I'm just pulling the shadows to the left and right as necessary, as if you had glued down this particular dimensional banner. Use a little bit of a softer brush to pull that in. And I'm just using the warp tool there to warp some of the shadows. And now I've saved the layout as an additional layout. Now I'm adding elements that were not part of the challenge. So I started this layout, and I don't think I would have even been in this direction at all had it not been for the challenge. So it was great that I got a really good composition going for my basis, and then I can choose to print the other layout that has less, or I can choose to print this layout that has more. So, you know, challenges are really good and get you, you know, becoming more creative. And even if you submit a layout for a challenge, you can always change something that maybe doesn't fit you before you print, which is what I'm doing here. So I'm just adding a little things here and there. Look at the little rhinestone there. I do not end up keeping that number. I didn't like it. It just seemed like it was a little misleading with the way the layout was going. And I think I add a flare. That's the last thing I think that's the last thing I add. Maybe there's more. Oh yeah, one final piece. I'm thinking about changing the line spacing, and I end up just reducing the size of the little love this with the heart. So I like how it just added a little finality to the last sentence of my journaling. And I do decide to actually add a paper in the background. And that's going to be it for my dressed up layout, and you'll see the dressed down part. So you can definitely have the same layout, but have there be less, just going back and forth between the two. And you'll see some close-up shots of the two pages. Here they are. The first one, of course, is the one following the challenge. And the second one is the one with the additional items that I've added. Again, like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.